What's up guys, Hades here. So, the finals are in just a few hours and I thought it'd be fun to go look at our opponents, right? 209 versus 38 in both the championship and the third place match. 209 kind of came out of nowhere, so we're gonna go analyze them and look at what they did. So they played our second alliance, Ascendants of Asgard, 2 weeks ago, and then they played their stuff last week. So this match is gonna have no value. We're gonna watch the match they played 2 weeks ago just to get some tendencies. If you guys aren't watching your opponents, I highly recommend it. You're probably gonna find some new and interesting things about them. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. For competitive integrity, I will not be releasing this video before the finals, but I will release this and some sort of a finals video, win or lose, in, I don't know, 6 hours or so, depending where you are. So we can see mid here is a nice even battle, couple of airs. I'm actually going to pause the game. This is where the game is made or broken. There are some huge gaps on the Asgard side here. There should be a player here, maybe even here. And then there should be a player here and a player here, not one. This one player is taking two players' spots. Very poor relocations here. Two stepping on each other on this side with massive gaps. Like, these are some of the worst gaps I've seen in a while. There should be a player here, and these players should have, or this player should have been one up. Looking at tower 4, very sloppy. Again, another step, and then some competition for the front of this tower. And then a complete disregard for tower 1, and two people defending home and one person defending home. So now we have all the basics down. Now to analyze play style, adaptations, rotations, all the little things that make a difference. Now I can already tell you what's going to happen in something like this. A ball of 4 is always going to beat a single and a broken ball. The reason is no one can realistically defend this player while he's getting attacked by multiple people. Only Typo and Jolma can defend here with a reasonable distance, and maybe Noah. That's such a waste of time. Like, they could attack in the same amount of time they could defend, which is just makes it very awkward. So he's basically playing a 1 versus 4, and if they focus him, he's gonna be gone, and then they can, focus the next person. Plus, there's a huge gap here, which should have been filled by one of these players. We'll check back on that. On the top side, there is a much better spread for the Asgard side. These players should win against Daniel here in the front. However, you can see the tendencies. Little Gatito and Kyo are pushing their marches directly into him, as they're understanding this is a pivotal spot to hold. It is a little weak on this side, as there's only 2 on the left that can be defending, and there's quite a few players from behind that should be able to focus the same location. Checking back in, as expected, the 1 versus the 4 basically gone instantly, and that's to be expected. However, they did clear one at the same time. There was one in the corner, and there was some reinforcements that fell on the side here. Now, it is a 30-28 match. There were some late players, and you can see them here. Late players are always welcome, but you want to be on time, as being here on time would make a big difference. Looking down at that bottom, HK had much better relocations. I'm pretty sure they got the block here on the side, and they ended up wiping this side quite significantly. We're actually going to go back. Yep, the landing site. Lieb landed first. They double stepped on each other. This looks horrible, right? 2 people versus 1. 3 late relocations. It's a huge numbers disadvantage. This obviously was never going to go well. So let's continue. Back to where we were. There's a nice ball of players here on the right side of this tower. Looks like 9, 10, 11. 11 versus 3. What they need to do is move up towards the tower and push there. HK is winning the top side of this tower, so it's still pretty balanced. Right side versus left side. There are some players that are behind, so they have won the central. The problem is they gave tower 1 for free, right? So they gave tower 1 for free. They lost tower 4 very quickly with almost no counter, which means they have to win the middle. If they don't win the middle, this game is basically over. There is some players fighting for their side, and there's a lot of players in their base. So this is the moment to find a catch-up scenario. But you can see they're already 6,000 points down. So middle needs to be won. It is captured by them. Now they just need to clear them out and look for that second tower, which would be tower 1. Rotations would have to start occurring right about now, realistically. They'd have to rotate from the middle to the top while still being able to hold the middle with the amount of players they have. And they'd have to defend from all the players coming from base, right? Not to mention that this was such a massive stomp in the bottom that these players have time to rotate as well. So it's already looking bad. If you didn't know the math, 3 towers beats 2 towers, even if you have the middle. The middle gives 15 a second, and the sides give 10 per second. So if you have middle and 1, you're home, which is the easiest one. You get 25 per second. You can see it here. The opponent has 3 times 10, which is 30 per second. So classic scenario, one team has the middle, the other team has 3. You're barely bleeding out, but you're bleeding out quickly because they had 1 full tower for a few minutes easily while the first one was being fought for. And that leads you to make desperate plays. Now we know the score was relatively close, but how do you pivot from this moment, right? And this is a good teaching moment. How do you go from a slightly losing position to a winning one? The answer is here, but not like this. This is not how you do it. One at a time, where they can be stepped on and blocked and, you know, forced to stop. They're having great defense here. This is what, 8 players and 1 or 2 more on the way. One at a time is never going to work. Even if they land, doesn't matter. There's too many players in base. None of them are relocating. It has to happen pretty much all at once, or it doesn't, probably shouldn't happen at all. You need to time it well together. Without timing, it's not going to work. They're keeping 6 at the tower 4. They're keeping 4 at home, and only 3 are in base, which are flexible. I'm going to skip to a point where they actually make a push for the top. Finally get a nice little cluster here. Looks like a TP or 2 in the back. Couple TPs. A good effort here. Now the question is, can they hold it, right? Glug was the first one here, and now it's getting focused. Dies to rally. Didn't look like many people were defending, which was probably a big mistake. I think everyone's on the attack. You have to do things the right way. If you're not pressing the right way, you will get punished. There's a counter TP following. A lot of players are low. This player's very low, and right next to them needs to be focused. Gets a free hit. These players clearly aren't paying attention. This was a decent attempt, but it kind of looks like it's going to fail. Everyone's focused here on the left on the tower. This is probably the worst thing you can do. Trying to send marches from this far away into the center. You can only send your march there once, and they can send it in like 3 times probably. I'd be shocked if they get it. Oof, wow, that actually was surprisingly close. Maybe the HK players weren't expecting the tower. I guess that's the thing, but you have to play it correctly. You have to push the players out first. If they had stopped hitting the tower, hit the people around them, not let their teammates die, they would have been able to push forward and actually hold this position, right? All these players that were going for tower are now dead. So instead of going for the win and holding the towers, clearing the players before holding the towers, that would have given them a better opportunity to win this game. But I can already see here it's failing, and if I skip forward, it fails, right? Now, they still held mid, but what are they going to do? There's 5 players bot, they have a failed attempt top, and a bunch of people in base, and now it's a 20,000 difference, right? with 20 minutes left, they basically have to capture something now, which isn't even possible really in this situation, unless they had a bunch of TPs. Just a half attempt here in the end. And yeah, they slowly bleed out and lose. So, what do we learn? Relocations, both sides were pretty sloppy. That's something that can be exploited. Low effort on the top, only 3 players. Relatively high and coordinated on the bot. Well defended towers. High level of tower pressure here. Well defended towers here. Very good blocking and teamwork. Good TPs and counters. Well played by HK. They definitely deserve to be in the finals. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to show you guys that video. And if you do like IB content, which I haven't done a lot of, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.